it's Georgia from Cybercrime magazine, and I'm here today with Renee Tarun. She is the Vice President for Information Security at Fortinet. Welcome, Renee.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thanks for being here. So Fortinet is our exclusive sponsor for our new Ask the CISO series, and we're very excited to have Renee here today, a brilliant woman in cyber. So Renee, just tell me a little bit about your background and how did you end up in cybersecurity as a profession?
So I started with my degree. My undergraduate degree was in bachelor's in business administration with a concentration in management information systems. So the idea of that degree was really working with businesses and help incorporating information technology into those businesses. Once I got my degree, I joined the federal government and landed at National Security Agency, working on the defensive mission in the Information Assurance Directorate, focusing on helping cybersecurity for the government and the nation.
And you said you come from a family of folks who were in, law enforcement and the public sector. Is that correct?
Absolutely. My dad was a retired Maryland State Police, and my brother was also in the federal government as well.
So you kind of had that call to serve yourself.
Absolutely. I think it's important for the nation and our country. And to me, it was just, part of my calling and upbringing that, the duty to serve.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot from other cyber professionals. So your last assignment was with the NSA and as the director of the Cyber NSA Task Force. So tell me a little bit about that.
Right, so the NSA Cyber Task Force worked on behalf of the director of NSA. So we did a lot of the engagement and relationship with the White House and the interagency, working on challenges at the policy at the national level, and working on various topics such as including helping critical infrastructure, and working on how we can better solve challenges at the national level.
So with your background in the federal government and that call to serve to protect critical infrastructure, do you feel that helps the private sector when you go to work for them?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of experiences and knowledge that you gain inside the federal government that you can't gain anywhere else, especially understanding the threat that we're dealing with as a nation. And being a part of NSA, we had the ability and pleasure in working with our interagency partners and helping developing different standards used within the federal government as well as within industry. So now kind of being on the opposite side, it's knowing what some of those best practices and industry standards are. Now being on the opposite side, in the private sector, helping the private sector, increase their security and protections.
Is the private sector held to those same standards as the federal government when it comes to the security and cybersecurity?
So everyone wants the information, to be protected at the same levels, whether you're in the government, private sector, or even academia. People want their information, their data protected. So everyone's looking to ensure that they have the proper mechanisms in place.
So tell me a little bit about how working for Fortinet, which is in the top 4 cybersecurity companies globally, how does that, align with your desire to serve and protect and that call to serve?
So it was a tough decision for me personally to leave after 20 plus years in the federal government. But knowing going into the private sector, to me it was very important to feel like I was still serving. Mm-hmm. The beauty of Fortinet is, we are a global company with over 300,000 customers worldwide.
Oh, wow.
And the beauty of it is that we are in every critical infrastructure. So from my perspective, I feel like I'm still helping the nation because, our technology helps, protect our nation and critical infrastructure as well.
So 300,000 in separate companies work with Fortinet? Worldwide. That's huge. So as a VP of Information Security for a company of that size, what are some of the biggest challenges you face in this current climate?
So any company that's global, faces similar type challenges. So I have a very mobile global workforce. So it's ensuring that, our employees and their connectivity and their, operations, they're done securely, no matter where they are online. The beauty, though, as being a Fortinet and being one of the largest security companies is I have all the technology and resources, of, the arsenal of, Fortinet products, to help defend my networks.
So what do you do to help defend when you do have a mobile company and a mobile workforce and all of these assets globally?
So it's making sure you know where your assets are, making sure that you have network access control, ensuring that people know what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing online to ensure that they're operating securely
and safely. So what are some of the market sectors? I mean, you said that critical infrastructure is an important thing for you personally to serve. So what are some of the market sectors that Fortinet works with?
I don't think there's one that we're not in. I think we are heavily involved financial, healthcare, retail. I think wherever there's a need to secure networks, there's Fortinet.
Last week, I think it was, you recently published a piece about the need for more training in cybersecurity. So what should we be talking about when it comes to training and educating, young people as well as the workforce in cybersecurity to help us bridge that gap between the demand for more cyber workers and the dearth that we have in the supply?
Yeah, so any cybersecurity program relies on three core things. It's technology, processes, and people. At the end of the day, people can be your weakest link because clicking on a phishing email or plugging your computer into a home network that's infected and then plugging into a work network. At the end of the day, you need to make sure that your employees are security aware, and security is such an important part of their life. My goal in helping training our employees is that they know that they're security conscious no matter where they are, whether that's they're at home or they're at work. And similarly, technology now is so much more involved in the younger generation. They're much more tech savvy than I ever was growing up. I look at my own kids and I'm just amazed how much more that they knew at their age than I ever did.
They're using laptops and computers at school when we were still, writing on chalkboards. So
absolutely. Right. So it's important that kids understand that the same technology they use for education, gaming, and communication with their friends, can also be used to do harm. So they need to have that awareness of that, understanding that when they are connecting online, that knowing who they're talking to, making sure that they're not opening things that they don't know who it's from, and those type of things, helping kids keep unsafe. Because my philosophy is that if we can start teaching at the younger age, then these, as they continue to grow and they become more technology part of their life, even with the Internet of Things, their smartphones, their watches, at the end of the day, that's going to create a more savvy workforce.
And Fortinet is also working on developing a lot of Internet of Things and cloud security.
Absolutely.
Right. So when it comes to Fortinet and training, I know that Fortinet has some amazing training programs in place that you've trained. I believe it's how many? Over 150,000 individuals? I mean, that's more than a lot of colleges and universities train in cyber.
Correct. Fortinet has a program called Network Security Expert, and that is 8 levels of accreditation. So there's a variety of classes, whether some are self-paced, instructor-led, and some are on-hands. So it gives post-education folks that want to have more experience on the technical side to get certified within doing network technologies.
And the first level is free.
Absolutely.
So I could go on there and learn this stuff.
Yep, the NSC Level 1 certification is free and open to the public.
And how long does that usually take to get that first level, would you say?
It can vary. It's self-paced, so you could take it over a couple days.
And this would make really any employee at any company a better employee because they're going to be on the lookout for phishing attacks or other kind of insider threat issues that do pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. The first level is really gives you some fundamental information technology security background, some of the basics, things to consider.
And you're training your employees as well. That's part of your job, is to kind of keep everybody safe.
Absolutely. We require our employees to take up to at least NSC Level 3. Then we also have our own security awareness program that is a continuous process, where we do annual mandatory training and then specific training for different roles and responsibilities based upon the threat they would specifically face in their daily jobs. It's ongoing. We do security awareness reminders, posters, and topics on a regular basis to keep security at the forefront of our employees' mind.
Right, and that's even taking place at a cybersecurity company, not just
Absolutely.
A bank or a school. So if we have a lot of C-suite level executives, CEOs who listen to this podcast and watch our videos, do you have any kind of advice that you could to give someone who's listening, who's a
Yeah.
business owner, for example?
Absolutely. Like I said in the beginning, security takes technology, people, and processes. So, don't forget the people aspect, making sure that your people are security aware and know that how to safe practices, making sure that watch out for phishing emails and so forth.
All right, that's good to know. I mean, people don't even understand what a big threat it truly is, the insider threat, or just the human factor that goes into it. And also the training program with Fortinet, the NSE it's called, right?
Yep.
Okay, so tell me about how you're offering some programs and some help to military veterans who are looking for a career.
So yes, we have a program called 40 Vets, where we actually provide security training as well to 40 vets, and it's a program to actually help get them introduced back into the workforce, those that are looking to go into the technology field. So we provide that security training to 40 vets, as well as create networking opportunities for them and provide mentoring and coaching for them on what is going to be expected, the types of skills looking for in the business and civilian world. And
do you think the background in military definitely helps?
Absolutely. I mean, the experience a lot of them come with, a lot of them already have, high level technical training in the most, intense and high pressure situations.
Right.
So being able to leverage someone that can work in that type of environment, especially dealing with cybersecurity, especially if there's a crisis, I think that's an untapped resource for the cybersecurity industry. Absolutely.
So, Renee, you are known to be an advocate for not just young people and military people, but also for women in cyber. So I know you spoke, I think it was last year, 2017, right here on Long Island at Queens College at the Long Island Women in Tech Conference. So what were some of the biggest takeaways you can speak to about that? I mean, who attended? What kind of trends are we seeing?
So it was a mix. I was surprised, when you're advertising as a women in technology, there were actually men showing up as well. I mean, there were some big folks there, myself and Fortinet, other big companies, IBM, and so it was amazing to see some of the excitement of and so many women in the room, engage on how they get into the field. They're going through the their training and getting all the practical knowledge with the degree, but how they get into the workforce, how do they build their network. So it was very exciting to see that there's so much women that are now engaged in realizing that cyber is a big and hot market, and that there's more engagement and exciting women want to go in.
That's excellent. Any advice for women who are looking to start their career?
Consider cybersecurity. It's not going away anytime soon.
It's not going away. You'll always have a job.
Yeah,
if you're good at it.
It's the demand right now. The demand and the supply is just not there. So it's
a huge gap.
It's a huge gap, and it's a great time. If you like to solve problems and you like a challenge, then cybersecurity is definitely a good opportunity and career move.
Would you say you need to have a strong background in technology or engineering or math to go into it?
It's helpful, but not necessarily. I look at the way you creatively solve problems. It's helpful to have a diversity way of looking at things, but definitely, when it comes down to solving technical problems, it's good to have that technical background. But I look at folks with business degrees and have slowly learned the technology over time.
Sure.
So it's not something that just because you don't necessarily know the technology, it's not something that you can't learn and get into.
What are some of the top things you look for in a candidate?
For me and foremost, must work and play well with others. When you're dealing with in the cyber world, it's within a company and organizations. It's just not your technical teams. You're working with the IT teams. You're working with the business owners. So you need to be able to communicate and collaborate. And then you need to have those team building skills, but also being able to effectively communicate. And then having the technical skills and know how to problem solve.
Right, and it's not just sitting in a room by yourself at a desk at a computer wearing a hoodie like we have this mythologized kind of notion. It's much more people involved.
Absolutely, very much. It's a team sport, I like to call it.
That's great. Renee, this has been really great. I really appreciate you coming up here to Northport today, all the way from Baltimore. So thank you very much for coming up and talking about this. All right.